Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining me again today. And if this is your first time visiting the channel, you're going to find a lot of home improvement videos, DIY stuff, really anything that the general homeowner would want to do. So hopefully the videos interest you and you'll hit that subscribe and bell notification icon. Now I'm up here right next to the roof looking down at the gutter. You might be able to see if it's not too shaded, just like my face right now, loaded with debris. And I'm going to teach you how to make an extension to your shop vac to be able to clean this stuff out without climbing up on the roof. So stay with me and I'll show you how I handle it. Okay, so now we're at the workbench and let's talk about the materials we're going to need. For the most important thing first is the piping, right? So here is an extension pipe for your for a traditional shop vac. It's 2 inches, and you can get multiple pieces of these and try to connect them like this. The thing is it could be fairly weak, especially if you've got a long span. If you've got a 2-story house and you need a long extension, right? There's a lot of short pieces here that could fail under the weight of a long span. You could tape them together. That could potentially work, or you can use one of these hose clamp connectors, 2-inch to 2-inch connectors, which will provide some additional stability. You can do that too. So that's one way to go with it. Another way is to just use 2-inch PVC pipe. Now this one is schedule 40, right? Very heavy. Okay, and this is what I'm going to use only because I live in a 1-level house, and when I reach up with my hand, I've only got an additional 3 feet to go. So I'm not worried about the weight of it, but this is very heavy. If you have a long way to go, you're going to want to use schedule 20 pipe. PVC pipe. It's a lot thinner and lighter. All of the home improvement stores do not have it. You might potentially have to order it online or have it ordered into your home improvement store if they don't have it. I checked the local store and mine did not have it. So but I'm not as concerned because I only need about 3 feet of it. Now this is 2-inch pipe. You might consider going to 1.5 inches, but I wouldn't. If you're doing it just purely because of cost, and you happen to see the 1.5 inch is less expensive, yeah, you can find a reducer to go from this size to this size, but look at the opening. You're trying to suck leaves and crap from your gutter into a pipe like this. It's going to clog. I would not use 1.5 inches. Okay, so next thing we have here are elbows. These are long-turn elbows. They're not the elbows that make a very sharp bend, again, to help prevent with clogging. Okay, so if you can imagine, we're going to have something like this going on. Okay, and then a short piece of 2-inch PVC in between. Okay, and then on the end, we're going to want to drop down a few inches and cut another piece of PVC. I'm going to get into my theory on what we should do with that piece in a moment. Okay, but again, we're talking about long-turn elbows, 2-inch. Now the other thing is if you have I wanted to get back into these 2 pieces here. These are male and female threaded union pieces for 2-inch PVC. Okay. Now, if you have a long way to go and you get the schedule 40, I would recommend using these because you just then screw them together, and it's a much better fit rather than glue them together and you have 20-30 foot piece of PVC you have to store. You can just do 8 or 10 foot sections using these guys and just screw them together when you need them. That's the way I would go if you need to make a long extension with the 2-inch schedule 20 or schedule 40 PVC. Okay, so now we're going to measure out 3 feet, and that's where we're going to cut this 2-inch piece of PVC. I'm also going to measure off another 3 inches so I can join the 2 elbows together. And this doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm thinking about 6 inches for the last little section, and then we're going to end up cutting it again on an angle, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. Alright, so let's piece this thing together. We've got the 2 elbows, right? So I'm gonna do this as a loose fit or a semi-tight fit, no PVC glue yet. I would obviously recommend using PVC glue to keep it all tight in the end, but I like to make sure the thing works properly first before I glue all this stuff in and find out that it doesn't. So we're going to test it out before using PVC glue. If some pieces fall off, then I'll glue it. Okay, it's in pretty tight. Okay. Now we're going to put the long piece in a moment, but this is the piece on the end that I was talking about, and I'm putting it in just loosely for a second. And here's why I said I might want to cut it on an angle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, see here, if I might cut that down a little bit more actually. If this thing is flat like this, I'm going to have to be standing directly underneath the gutter, right, to have it sitting almost flush with the gutter down here. But chances are I'm going to be coming at an angle like this, right, because you're going to stand a couple feet away from the house, which means I'm going to want to cut that angle there, right, off of the pipe, so that way if I cut the angle this way, whatever that looks like, about 25 degrees, then the pipe will be sitting flush to the gutter. And then the other thing I'm going to do is cut a couple grooves on the bottom, which you'll see me do on the ends, so that way this thing doesn't suction tight to the gutter and I can't get it off. I want to be able to have some air leakage just a little bit, so that way the pipe doesn't suction to the gutter. Okay. I got it the wrong way. Okay. Now you can see I might be at a little bit of an angle there, right, away from the house, and then that'll sit flush down here. Okay, makes sense? Right, now let's attach it to the other side. Again, loose fit. We'll do the PVC glue later. I just want to make sure it works first. Okay. And then we're going to flip it to the other side. And now I'm going to attach this to here, just like this. Let's take the other side. Okay, so now we got it out here, laid out. You can use the additional extension here if you'd like, or just extend with the longer schedule 20 PVC if you need a longer length. We're going to get this thing attached, hooked up to here, and we're going to give it a shot. it. Quite a bit of leaves and crap in there. Let's go up and look inside the gutter. All right, so looks like it did a fairly decent job of cleaning it out. However, not perfect, and it looks like every time we had one of those gutter supports, those screws, as you have to lift the pipe over it, it looks like there's a couple little clumps along the way down where you may have missed it a little bit. There's also another issue that I'm going to talk about here too. So the 2-inch pipe in a few spots, because the shingles were hanging over a little bit too much, the pipe was getting caught a little bit, as you can see here. Okay, see that? It's a little tight. So it was a little tight in a few spots where maybe the 1.5 inches would have fit better. Not maybe, it would have, but obviously would have gotten clogged more often. So that's one of the issues that I ran across. It might not be a problem for you. I'm going to talk about a few other learnings in a moment. Okay, so back off the roof here, and just want to explain to you what I seem to find with this project. First, I felt like it was definitely a very successful project, and you can absolutely hook up your shop vac to a PVC extension or any other type of extension that you might be able to find. However, I definitely recommend getting the Schedule 20 PVC. The Schedule 40 I was using, even though it was only about 3-foot section plus the weight of the elbow, after you're holding it there for a while going along the top of your house, you can definitely feel the weight. And it was a short piece, right? So if you have a 10-foot piece or twice that because you've got a 2-story house, you're not going to be able to, you just won't be able to manage that. So you have to get the Schedule 20 if you've got a 2-story house for sure, or find some longer pieces of your shop vac hose that might be available from the shop vac manufacturer. That might work for you too. I mentioned a couple of minutes ago that the end of the elbow here was getting caught in between the shingles and the edge of the gutter. That's my issue with my house, because the roof installers left it hanging over so far. That might not be an issue for you at all. So, but for me it was, which meant it was a little bit of a tight fit. And in the beginning of the video, I said, when I started piecing these things together, I said I was just loose fitting them, and I was just gonna try to just see how it works before putting the glue in, because I like to test things before making them final. Like with glue, PVC glue is final. But I found that because it was getting stuck, I had to glue it. I glued it off camera, and because a couple of pieces were moving on me a little bit. This other side was holding right here. It held perfectly, was not an issue. These things work great. If you need to use that, go right ahead, no problem. But again, I think this thing worked extremely well. If you have sticks, you're gonna probably have an issue with sticks. If you have branches hanging over your roof and you're gonna get sticks in there, big pieces of sticks, then you might find that hopefully the suction will grab it. You can pull it down, pull the stick off, and then go back up in there. But you might have an issue with sticks. I think not just my video, but any other videos on this topic you might watch, they try to paint a rosy picture. It's perfect, but you're gonna have an issue with sticks. You should know that. But again, get the Schedule 20. Make it simple. Use these other things if you have to, join a couple sections together to make it easier for you. And then I think you should have an easy time of cleaning out your gutters. Hopefully this video helped you. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I appreciate you subscribing and hitting that bell notification icon for future videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.